Hi everyone. I see some of you have your cameras on. You're more than welcome to switch them off for the session, and so we can just have the presenters on screen. Welcome to our first webinar that we've actually taken, our first external webinar. We do these internally all the time, but our first one we are doing for, I guess, our clients and every single person they seem to send it to. We definitely did not expect about 134 people to be interested in today's session, and I think for me it was a really good indication that that this is on top of mind for a lot of us, and I think that certain anxiety around what is happening in the world of search, and we'll definitely be delving into that. So, for those of you that don't know myself and the Metis team, my name is Chantal. I'm the founder and CEO of Metis. We started the company, it's almost 15 and a half years ago. So I always like to say in digital marketing, it's like dog years. You've got to times by 7. That's how long we've been around. And our panelist today is Dylan, who's our head of performance, and he'll be taking us through the paid media side of things, as well as Lauren, who heads up the SEO, these days known as SEO, AEO, GO, LMO, all the O's. So we'll be going through all of that and really looking forward to spending this time, the next hour with you. Just a little bit of housekeeping. As mentioned, you're more than welcome to switch off your cameras, and we just can keep maybe just the cameras to the panel. And there is a Q&A functionality on Teams. It's sort of next to the chat button. And what we're going to do is you can just put your questions in there. You can vote on any questions. And then in our last 10 minutes, we'll just be running through the sort of top voted questions and try to get through as many as we can. Okay, sound good? Let's get started. So very much what our objective is today, I've recently actually launched something called AI Anxiety Bites, and it was very much based around my own sort of anxiety around AI and what's happening in the world and how is it changing business as we see it. And I think today the real reason I wanted to run this session is to really help reduce the panic and give us more sort of good information to really help make those smarter marketing decisions. But for me, it's really about, if you have a better understanding, it really can help you ask the right questions and also maybe see through the sort of snake oil salesman as well. So yeah, that's what we're really going to get through today. So I think for me, running the sales side of Metis, I speak to a lot of clients or potential clients, and the questions that I'm hearing a lot of at the moment is, how do I get my business onto ChatGPT? I think because a lot of us are utilizing ChatGPT, we want to know how can we sort of feature on there. People will be saying things to me like, are people still using Google anymore? I'm not using Google. I go into ChatGPT. So that means everybody else is probably doing the same. And then a lot of concern from, I think, clients as well, going, I rely on my paid media and I rely on my SEO for my business. This is where a lot of my business comes from. So what's going to happen to that? Like, how are we going to sort of sometimes not even thrive, but people are worried that they're even going to survive through this. And yep, today we'll delve a little bit more into that. So I think for me, the real key thing is that search itself. So when I speak about search, I'm speaking about like when we go into Google and we're looking for something, we search, we go into ChatGPT, we're looking for something, we search. So basically anything where you're typing into to find an answer, it's not going away. People still have questions that they need to be answered. But what we are seeing is that it's fragmenting. So what I mean by fragmentation is, before we might have relied on a couple of different search engines, it's now there's a load more to really look at. But what I want to reassure you is that we've seen big shifts before. So I'm unsure of sort of, let's call it our age demographic in the room. But there was life before Google and there was life before social media. Metis itself started before there was anything such as social media ads. Actually, when we started, all there was is Google search ads and Google banner ads, and the search ads were like all of this big. So a lot has evolved in the last sort of 15 years. And I'm trying to remember what year it was, but it could be about 10 to 12 years ago, we went through a massive shift as well of users moving from utilizing desktop to mobile. And I still remember back then telling clients, like, listen, your website needs to be mobile friendly. Nobody even knew what that meant, to be mobile friendly. And the sort of pushback I received at the time was, no one will ever, I'm a business, no one's ever going to go to my website on their mobile device. Okay, so we've been here before. Some of us were maybe a little bit more late to the party than others in regards to getting that website mobile friendly, but we all did adjust with time. And I think in our sort of prep for this today's session, Lauren really, still wrote down what she said. She said, like, the word of the day is adapting. And I think that's really what we want to look today, is how can we just adapt with this new era that we're going into. So what is happening right now? Our users are utilizing different platforms to find the answers to the questions that they have. These are just a couple of the ones that I could think of. So before was very much on Google and then maybe a bit of Bing. Yes, Bing is also, we started to see a little bit of an increase in people utilizing Bing in South Africa. And then we have all of our sort of large language models that come in. And YouTube, if you didn't realize, is actually the second largest search engine in the world. A lot of people don't realize that it's actually classified as a search engine. And you'll see why in a moment. So just taking a look at this screenshot from July, this was the most visited pages on the web. I was actually saying to my team now, when I was trying to read these numbers of Google, I didn't want to do like a Jacob Zuma thing here with the numbers, but I don't know if this is 1 billion or if it's 101 billion. I was like, how many zeros is that? But we can still see that Google leads the way with the amounts of visits of people utilizing the platform. YouTube, as you can see, are really, really strong in second place, and then we get the rest after that. ChatGPT coming in over here, it's still showing that Google is about 19 times more visits, but we are seeing that ChatGPT is rapidly increasing at a very accelerated rate. But the bottom line is this is not happening overnight, so it is accelerating fast, but there's no need to panic. It's no need to switch everything over in one go. You can still take a really steady approach to the change. So before I get into asking the panel a couple of questions and really tapping into their brains, I just thought I'd just do a little bit of a jargon decoder. These are terms that you may have heard before, or there might be terms that you're probably going to hear coming up. So this just quickly just to get some of them out of the way. So the first thing is the AI overview. Now, this is a little bit embarrassing to admit, but I actually only learned probably about a month ago in a session with Lauren. She was busy presenting to a client that AI overview, which is that section that happens at the top of Google where it sort of gives you a summary of the results. That's actually not necessarily classified as a large language model. I actually thought it was all the same thing. So AI overview is very much the summary box on top of your Google search results, where your large language models are the likes of ChatGPT, Perplexity, Cloud, Grok, I don't know, whichever one you showing preference to. And these are, at the end of the day, the different types of search places or the search results that people are getting. GEO, AEO, LLMO, these are all new terms that are being utilized for SEO. So if you really want to go into the detail, it's generative engine optimization. It's now answer engine optimization and large language model optimization, if I'm not mistaken. But at the end of the day, it's all about optimizing for AI search queries. That's really what it comes down to. And they get sort of used interchangeably quite a lot. And then the other thing that you will hear about is zero clicks. Now, zero clicks is when you go into Google and you search for something and then the result comes up, but you don't need to click through to the website. So this you would have probably seen for a little while. We've had those little snippets where people also ask, and you can then go and read the answers over there. But also now with obviously having AI overview, you can maybe get your answer without needing to go and look at the references. And obviously the likes of ChatGPT and that are doing that as well. But I was even saying to Dylan earlier, it's actually goes even further back than that in the fact that if you think about Google shopping ads, have also created a bit of a zero-click type environment where we were able to sort of window shop without having to click through. So I sometimes do it. I go look if somebody is going to have something in stock or what the price is. I let all the shopping ads come up, and then I actually go in store without even clicking through to the website. All right, so now to get me out the way and to really get the brains in the room to do the talking, what I'm going to attempt to do today is ask the questions and then translate their technical, brainy answers into human talk. So hopefully I can do a decent job for you. So just really want to introduce again, Dylan. Dylan's been with Metis for, gosh, it's going to be 6 years, Dylan, I want to say, roundabout. He is our head of product and performance, and very much involved in the paid media community, not only within locally, but internationally as well. And so he's our expert and has been doing a lot of research and learning from others, as well as on our own clients. And then Lauren is our SEO expert in the SEO, let's say SEO, AEO expert, GEO expert, all the experts
All of the above.
in the call today. And I've sat on quite a lot of client presentations with Lauren, and while we won't go into as much detail in today's session, I've learned a lot. And I think for me, one of the real key things that has come out of this is that gone are the days of paid media and SEO being rivals to each other. Like, I don't know, people would choose one or the other. And people, the paid media guys would say, we're the best. And SEO guys say, oh, no, we're the best. And there was always this competition and almost like putting the other one down to get ahead. Where, as you'll learn as we go forward today, is how the two channels have now started to really come together and needing to work together a lot more. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing that is really on my mind and everybody else's mind in the room is what is actually changing. So Lauren, I think that SEO, in my opinion, has almost been a little bit ahead of this change as opposed to paid media. I feel paid media is playing a little bit more of a catch-up game, although Dylan has shared that they've been doing things in the sort of maybe the background a lot more. But what have you seen that has really changed in SEO up to now?
Well, honestly, everything. Like SEO has gone a 180. When March hit this year, we saw clients' organic traffic tank, and we were like, okay, we all knew SGE was coming, the search generative experience was coming, but no one really knew what that meant. So over the last year, we've really just been working on what works, and in an essence, it's context. It's natural language processing. It is everything. Sorry, I'm having a bit of connectivity issues. So I'm just going to switch off my camera for a second.
No
But
problem.
essentially, it's when you think of SEO in the old days, it was keywords, right? You optimize for a handful of keywords, and then you'd get your ranking to #1, and you can expect a lot of organic traffic. Not so much anymore. So LLMs understand meaning, context. They don't just understand keywords. So we have to really think about answering users' questions holistically, and then also demonstrating topical authority. So, you need to be able to be the expert in your field. We're always harping on clients about this, and that's really about any question that a user could particularly answer. How are you answering that across your website? Unfortunately, rankings do not mean clicks anymore. So the new position 0 is getting a citation in the AI overviews. That is a gold mine. That is exactly what we want for our clients, because it shows that you are the voice of authority within that specific question. So yeah, everything. What was important in technical this time last year, not so much. I know technical is a whole other ball game, but there's certain things that we do today and pay more attention to today than we did last year, and it seems to have a very positive effect for clients.
And if I just had to quickly, for those of us in the room that don't maybe understand the word of topical or contextual, let's just use an example for a luxury accommodation. Okay, so what would that look like in the old days with keyword versus what would that look like now?
So I think if you remember how we used to search, we always used to laugh at the older people who would type in an actual question as though they were talking to people on Google, right? And they would be like, no, you don't have to type that in. Just search luxury accommodation in Onrus, for example. However, we've certainly done again a 180 where now it's like, well, actually, people are asking what is the best luxury accommodation in Onrus in this specific thing for this budget and in July. So it's putting context around that, and the way in which you do that. I mean, it's the way that your content is structured. Most importantly, it's optimizing for the age-old Google laws of EEAT. You know, expertise, authoritativeness, trustworthiness. It's really it's all about how you present yourself online.
Amazing. And Dylan, I know, as I just said, I think, paid media, in my opinion, it just feels like it's playing a little bit of catch up to everything else. But what have you seen that has changed for paid media, and what is changing for the future as well?
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's three key areas of where the changes are happening within paid media, and one has been going on for, I would say, the last 2 to 3 years, whereas the other two are a little bit newer. I think a bit in reaction to ChatGPT and things like that. So the first one is the algorithm aspect. So Google has constantly been trying to incorporate AI into how the algorithm understands a user's search to what kind of ads need to show. So that's something that is continually integrated and, according to Google, improved upon. So I think it's very much similar to what Lauren was speaking about in terms of the contextualized searches that come through. When it comes from a Google ad side of things, we've actually seen a little bit of the opposite in terms of some searches getting a little bit shorter. So I think a user starts off with the longer searches. And as they make their way through that funnel, they're ending up with a lot shorter searches because they kind of know what they're looking for. And then Google is being able to show the right kind of ad to them at that time for that shorter query. So for example, someone looking for trail shoes, for example, they start off with some trail running shoes. They do some searches. By the end of the day, they're just typing in Solomon or Merrill or something. Then those kind of brands have a large range of items. So they've got apparel, they've got hiking items, they've got caps, etc. But because you've now just typed in the brand, after doing that journey of searching, they're going to show you the top trail running shoes to start with. So just understanding that kind of context that Google is now kind of obtaining through that user journey to essentially show for those kind of searches.
I'm almost hearing like if I just think about how I utilize ChatGPT, I always try to give it context before asking the question. It's almost like giving it the background information, right? Like the research material. Okay, cool. I get that.
I think the difference is Google has a lot of that context on you as a user already. So the moment you start to give it a little bit more from the start of your journey to getting to progressing throughout that journey, you can almost give it a little bit less. And I think that's where we're starting to see it from an ad point of view. Some slightly more punchier searches coming through rather than the full long tail kind of keywords, but still very relevant at the end of the day as well. And then the other two areas that I was referring to. So the next one is AI powered targeting. So that is using AI to basically target your ads according to user data and those kind of signals that we just mentioned as well. So there's three main areas for that. One is the broad match keyword. The way that this has kind of been expanded on and improved on takes a lot more of your website data and additional signals coming from your website to essentially show for user search. Now, before, we were usually quite against broad match just because of how expansive it can get, and still to this day can get very expansive on types of searches, but we're very narrow and specific on the types of searches that we want to focus on. Nowadays, you are able to make use of broad match, but then still stay quite specific and on topic. And then you've got something like AI Max for search and then Performance Max as well, which is very heavily reliant on the data that you provide Google with. And that data ranges from your tracking data, so what's the most important action you want the user to take, your customer data, so your first-party lists and your first-party data that you feed back into the system, essentially informing Google who are your customers and who are your ideal customers as well. And then the quality of data on your landing pages and product pages and service pages. So can Google really easily understand what it is that you sell and how they can link that to a user's search as well? So
I guess that's where paid media plays a little bit plays along with SEO. I mean, if it needs that, let's call it high quality website data, we need the SEO guys to be structuring that in a way that it's a large language model or Google can understand it.
Yeah, 100%. I think a lot of where paid media is going from the quality of the page, and there's often talk about a keywordless future. What does that look like? And that really looks like what is the data you're feeding the system, and the number one stop is the website structured really well to communicate what's on offer, essentially.
Yeah, so everybody that was afraid around content and being replaced as a content creators, I think that we've just totally debunked that.
Yeah. Just one more thing on the ads and AI overview, because that was the final point.
Yes.
Chantal, you mentioned the AI overview earlier, and how that's kind of the AI responses that you get to your queries before the website listings and before the ads and things like that. So recently in Google Marketing Live, which happened during May, I think towards the end of May, Google announced that they are going to start rolling out ads in that AI overview space. I think the biggest thing is that obviously Google wants to take care of their revenue stream, which Google search is a massive part of. So they are starting to incorporate, as you'll see at the moment in AI overview, there will be links, and there will be organic links primarily, but they are starting to roll out those kind of ads as well. So and that would be linked to these AI powered targeting options, so Broad Match, AI Max for search, and Performance Max as well. Having those different settings or campaign types active, that would help improve your chances of showing in that placement.
I do recall in a session of ours previously, you spoke about the type of queries that it shows for being a little bit more around the research side of things as opposed to the buying intent side of things. Could you maybe elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah. So I think the concern as well from a lot of people is thinking that AI overview is taking up most of the space and your ad's not going to show it all. I think Google's purpose is to essentially create a good enough experience that they're answering the user's query, but still showing them that the transactional side of things or the product or offering side of things as well. So there's some main kind of queries that AI overview is most likely to show for, and that's like complex questions, informational searches, health and scientific topics, specific or niche topics as well, and then queries with very low commercial intent. So Google has the understanding that this is not a query that's going to lead to someone making a purchase or trying to find a specific service. When AI overview is least likely to show is during transactional queries. I think that's the biggest one. So if you do have a store, if someone is still searching for things that are transactional, your ads are still likely to show.
And that would be your Google Shopping ads, essentially?
Yeah, that would be Google Shopping ads, of course, for e-commerce. So your Google Shopping ads, and then obviously, if you've got a search campaign, that would show there as well. So for the service and lead gen kind of clients or businesses, it's still commercial intent behind that query of someone looking for that service, and that's where Google will try to, I guess, integrate primarily an ad over the AI overview.
So I took this. The screenshot was taken the other day by somebody within our team, and this is something that actually showed up in ChatGPT. I mean, has there been any word about our ads coming to the likes of ChatGPT?
Yeah, so at the moment, there's definitely no ads within ChatGPT. I have heard people saying, "Oh, start running ads in ChatGPT or make the most of ChatGPT, and you could triple your sales and stuff like that." It's obviously not true. And OpenAI have stated that there's no immediate plans in running ads at the moment, but I think there are going to be maybe not now, but in the near future, ads would probably roll out through ChatGPT. Not sure how they would connect it to another search engine. Obviously, Google's not going to have ChatGPT integrated there. But I think the biggest thing, and what you're showing there, is ChatGPT is still pulling from Google results, and it is still pulling through ad-like type type content pieces. So it comes down to how well that page is structured. So if someone, in this case, looking for trampolines, that's still pulling through your product feed data, and your product feed data is your title, your description, your price, what your product category is, etc. And that still needs to be done through good SEO on the website and how well it's structured according to Google Merchant Center's specifications. So while it's not an ad specifically, it is kind of showing your or that listing above others, and that could just be a quality of ranking kind of thing.
So, I mean, something that we've sort of noticed in the past, I would say this year, people maybe rankings declining from an SEO perspective, ad visibility maybe declining as well, cost per clicks going up. I think for a lot of clients, we've seen cost per clicks can over almost doubled this year. So, Lauren, question to you, in our audience today, we've got some people that are running maybe things from a paid media perspective and others that rely on SEO. How would you answer people that say like they're worried their business is going to be invisible online?
Well, the thing is, you won't just disappear, okay? But the thing is, the faster you adapt, the better it is going to be for you, because optimizing for AIOs, LLMs, it compounds over time. So say, for example, you have relied on SEO for the last 10, 15 years, and that's what's, your ranking position is what has gotten you majority of your organic conversions. Unfortunately, that isn't the case anymore. Zero-click environments, rankings aren't as much of a KPI as they used to be. So it's really just, you won't disappear, but other people and smaller people are coming up who are doing this now, and they are getting results. This is something we're seeing with very new clients who have joined SEO, and they're outperforming guys that have been on the scene for years and years and years because they adapted and they did it quickly. So really, at the end of the day, when I can say your business will not disappear, but do not leave this behind, this optimization opportunities that are in front of you, really focus on your topical depth, and look at where you are now. Like, where is your visibility now? Do some searches across these different tools and just see, where are you starting from? But you won't disappear immediately.
What I heard there is like, and it really speaks to this next slide, is that with every threat, there's always an opportunity. And I think what was always tough before with SEO is when you kind of started late and now other people had built up and they had almost like put their flag into the Google sort of rankings, and it was hard to now like remove that flag or be able to get above them. But what I'm hearing is that people that are small can actually stand a chance now to sort of overtake those that have been doing this for a long time.
100%. And we've seen this in the data over the last year with our clients, existing new clients, old clients. We've seen this. I was excited when this kind of started, because it really did even the playing field a little bit. It allowed smaller companies that haven't, led and conglomerated the number one spots for specific service and products to own those spots. Like now it's an open battlefield, I guess, if you want to put it that way. So you have an opportunity to really get yourself up into that golden position of AIO overviews and to, get within the LLM ecosystem and start ranking. And how you do that is the way in which your website is structured from a technical perspective and how you are developing your content across the site. Blogs are no longer just an entry point or nice to have. It is a necessity to build the context behind what you're offering people.
I think on that as well, I mean, we recently, you wrote that amazing article for us in regards to digital PR and SEO. So do you mind just quickly just chatting about that? And I know we didn't really allow time for it, but if we can quickly put it in 2 minutes.
Yeah. No, I think that just goes back to the age-old backlinks, right? So like 20 years ago, whatever it is, get a bunch of backlinks, like link farms, this whole ecosystem industry that developed where you have these fake websites that have backlinks, and Google was like, oh, they've got lots of backlinks talking about this specific product or service offering and goes to these guys. No, no, no. Now it's more about the quality of those backlinks. So this is where PR, digital PR, SEO plays together, because you can have 70,000 backlinks within a certain range of domain authority. No one cares anymore. If you have got 5 or 6 or 10 backlinks from strategic PR aligned publications that are sitting with domain authorities that are really high, that is what counts. So whilst Google and LLMs don't necessarily just look at the count of backlinks anymore, it's not the count of the amount of people that are talking about this product. It is the amount of people who know what your product is about, and they know this environment, this this sector, and they're recommending you. So think about it like you can have 25 people that are from completely different industries talking about, oh no, you need to get this product, but it doesn't really hold as much weight as it does when, Nike is recommending a specific small brand for their sporting apparel, just as a
I
little
almost want
example.
to take it even one step further. I know a lot of people on this call, or a lot of the sales calls, let me say, that I have, and I say, where do you currently get your business? And often the response is word of mouth. And so it's basically like your referral network of people that recommend you. What I'm hearing here is like this is like the online version of that. And while if I just think of word of mouth, when it is somebody that I trust that says to me, oh, go utilize Metis, then they go, oh, well, I trust you. You're a good friend of mine or somebody I respect, and therefore I'm going to listen to you, as opposed to just somebody just giving you that kind of information.
Exactly. So like think back to that topic, the topical authority, like as much as the word of the day is adapt, it's also topical authority and contextualization. So, the person or the enterprise or the publication or whatever it is that is talking about you, they have a certain topical authority in this niche or this space. And if they're recommending you, that holds more weight than you having 70 to 100,000 backlinks on your site these days. And something that we're not paying too much attention to like acquiring backlinks or cleaning up backlinks, because a lot of the time you'll do audits and it'll be like high toxicity. Again, you can remove them, it's not going to hurt you, but they just don't pay attention to them. They'll just ignore it. It's just it's not blurring your scores or anything. It's just like doesn't really matter if it's not authoritative.
Okay, cool. Dylan, in regards to an opportunity over here for paid media, so how could businesses, I guess, use paid media to feed the AI signals? Like how do they stay recommended and visible? How do they get people to recommend them?
Yeah.
How do they get Google to recommend them? Or ChatGPT?
So,
But we keep on speaking about Google, but ChatGPT.
I think it very much relies with a combination of that SEO aspect of it. I think the three main areas where I feel you can feed the platforms these signals, and this is across any advertising platform really, is your tracking, number one. I think your tracking really needs to be well set up and well structured. Google needs to easily understand what is the action that a user is trying to take to essentially reach your business goals, and have they actually completed that action or not. So from an e-commerce side of things, it's really easy to understand. Someone needs to make a purchase. They make the purchase on the site. They pay for it immediately. That revenue amount goes back into Google to say one conversion, 1,200 Rand just generated, perfectly understanding what a customer is. From a lead generation point of view, it becomes a little bit trickier in the sense that we are trying to drive things like form submissions or inquiries or demo bookings or something along those lines. Now, the data essentially stops with that. So Google can understand who are the people who are actually filling in the form after they've clicked an ad. We need to then essentially pull that information back to say, out of the 100 inquiries that have come through, 50 of them were quite qualified leads that we thought could do quite well, and then only 10 to 20 of those actually became customers. And what is that value of the customer? So it's about ranking beyond the actual online conversion. what is the value of the next step to you as a business? And being able to feed that back into the system already helps Google understand, okay, these are the people who are more likely to become a customer, and these are the people that we should be targeting a little bit more aggressively.
It's almost like turning your service-based business or your lead generation-based business into an e-commerce type website, right? You basically closing the loop for the platform. Okay.
Yeah, 100%. And then the other side of things, so I mentioned the tracking side, the first party data and customer list. So from a lead generation perspective, there is that offline conversion aspect where you are linking a user who has made that form submission to someone who's actually become a customer. But you also get customers that come through other channels that aren't linked to your Google campaigns. It's important to take your full lists and import those back into the system as well. So Google's now try to categorize users according to customer types. So they'll have your full customer base, your high value customer base, your lapsed customer base, so people who haven't purchased or been a customer in the last year or 2 years, depending on your frequency as a business, and then high value lapsed customers as well. So by segmenting those different customer types, Google's really trying to use that data to go beyond advertising to existing customers and really try to focus on driving new business at the end of the day. So customer lists are becoming increasingly important. I think we've gone on about this for like 3 years now, but it's really getting even more important to this day, especially for campaign types that are mostly using an AI form of targeting or AI.
It's similar to, I mean, things that anybody that has utilized a large language model like ChatGPT, they've always said like the answer is only as good as the output is only as good as the input, right? So the answer I get from it is only as good as the information I give it. And what I'm hearing is it is exactly the same thing. So where businesses can, start today in getting to a place where they're a lot better is their collection of data, being able to ensure that data is, I want to say, rich data. So it's not just these customer names. It actually just classifies those customers into maybe different sort of, what's the right word, like pots maybe, and then being able to utilize that information to feed the systems. So good data collection, ensuring that it's really detailed, as well as then actually utilizing it.
Yeah, 100%. And then the next one as well is very much back down to the SEO side of things, and it's having high quality data and a high quality structure on your product and service pages as well. I think the biggest thing that Google's trying to do now is improve the relevance of a user's search to the ad they see and improve their overall experience on the site as well, the site being Google. The biggest issue with the keyword on its own is people can type in 10 to 20 keywords that they feel like they want to rank for, but their ad doesn't speak to that keyword and their landing page doesn't speak to that keyword. Being able to structure your pages specifically for your products and your services, now as Google starts to use landing pages as a form of targeting, they have a better understanding of what kind of searches should we be showing for these kind of pages. And I think that's the overall experience that Google's trying to improve by using AI.
Okay. So this is all good and well. A lot of information, but I guess the thing is that Lauren, like if somebody wants to go, okay, I need to now do all this, potentially we try to reduce the panic, and now they feel more panicked when they hear the amount of work that's ahead of them. So where do I start as a business? Like, and I guess, I mean, the questions that I would get from someone is something like, where do I start? How quickly will I see the results? Is this a once-off thing, or do I have to continue to do this? And who does this for me? Is this something I can do myself? Or if I do need a service provider, who is that? Is this my website company? Is this my content creator? Is this my SEO company? If you can, sorry, there's a lot of questions just
No. I think to start off with, you're going to want to audit your site, right? So take a look at your technical housing, see how things, what is going on there, and how does it look? How ready are you to present content that these LLMs will pick up? So, and then, you can also obviously go and have a look and audit your presence and your visibility across these tools and AIOs. Go and have a look and see what is your presence. Where are you starting from? Are you starting at a 20% visibility rate? Are you starting at 0? Just have a look and see. And also your Google Analytics is going to be your gold in terms of seeing how many people are coming to your site from these tools already. How many conversions, how many organic conversions have you already gotten from these different types of tools? And then once you have that answer, you kind of have the roadmap, okay, of now I know where I need to pay attention to, or what I need to pay attention to first. SEO people, the default answer is results 3 to 6 months. No one can tell you how long this is going to take. It depends on where you are starting. If you're starting at a 20% visibility rate right now, and okay, great. So with these technical enhancements, so schema, structured data, your URL strategy and structure, all those kinds of things are sorted. Great. We'll be able to see that graph. So when people ask me, how long is this going to take? I refuse to give like a ballpark. I can say 3 to 6 months, but we've seen people, especially smaller clients that haven't invested in SEO prior to this year, have exceeded that already. So within the first month, we saw results. Some people are taking longer, 8 to 12 months, so it is so dependent on where you are right now. It's dependent on your niche, the competitiveness of that market, and where you're hosted, what's going on, what is the user experience like at the moment with all these new things in place.
So Lauren, you went a little bit techie on us there for a moment, like technical housing. What is that?
So that is the structure of your website. What is like taxonomy? Think about it like, does it make sense? Does your navigation make sense? Does your menu make sense? Are all of the URLs in the best practice? Like, are the pages loading fast enough? What are the issues that users can experience technically when visiting your site? Then we look at the back house of things. We look at structured data and schema. These are things that these tools read through first in order to understand what you're doing. A lot of the people, like I said, this was one of the particular things that we didn't pay a lot of attention to 2 years ago. Whereas now, in particular, FAQ schema is a massive tool to optimize for LLMs and AIOs, because we have seen how that has improved people.
Well, I guess you're answering the question, right? And if you just think about when we go on to the likes of ChatGPT, we're asking a question at the end of the day. We're asking for some sort of assistance. Okay, so I mean, I think sometimes when you hear these things, it seems like a lot, and it seems like, oh, I'm not expert enough to understand this. But for me, it's always just like we are all users of the internet, right? And it's just really about, I guess, looking at ourselves and going, when I go onto a website, did I find the information I needed easily? Did the page load quickly? Was I able to find the contact details? Were there maybe trust badges on the website that made me go, oh, okay, these guys have, got the stamp of approval from X. So I guess it's just all the things that would make us feel safe, really.
Absolutely. And I think it's difficult to do that when you are very close to your website or your business. It's sometimes difficult to see past those things or to see what's standing out that maybe to an outsider would be an obvious observation. But, really I would always recommend people do an audit, whether you do that on your own or whether you do that from an SEO specialist or get a once-off quote from someone to come and audit your site and tell you where you are. Set up your tracking. Like Dylan said, tracking is so important in this time. Once you have all these things, it's not to say that you need an SEO expert to roll, but they will guide you give you the framework that you need for success. But it's depends how much effort you want to put into it at the end of the day and how much time you have, because this is a ongoing thing and it will never stop. SEO never stops. Optimization for LLMs and AIOs are never going to stop. It's only going to get more competitive. And right now we're in this weird little sweet spot where we know what works, but yet we know some of the things that work well, but the playing field is still open. No one's dominating it yet to the point where it's going to be so difficult to get above them. Who knows how long that's going to last? Changes every day.
So Dylan, I'm just I know we have a little bit of time and I wouldn't mind just getting onto this section. So, I mean, really what I got out of that, Lauren, as well, is that it's really much about the trust and credibility. And then what I've also heard quite a bit today is really around personalization. So just like a friend would introduce somebody that they trust to you as a recommendation, AI will choose brands it trusts as well, and it also personalizes it according to essentially what you're requesting. So Dylan, there's been a lot of talk about this journey. So from a paid media, how does paid media ensure consistency? I think you did speak a little bit about this already, but so that like the ad feels personalized, the landing page, the customer journey, and it also like as a user, there's lots of different parts of the funnel you can be in. I think it's typical in marketing. We hear a lot of times top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. So can you maybe just speak a little bit to that side of things, maybe even leaning a little bit onto the creative side?
Yeah. So I think from a Google search side of things, I think a lot of the searches that come through or that you want to show for anyway are going to be a little bit more bottom of funnel. So it doesn't need to be too many tweaks according to top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel from a search point of view. I would still always recommend testing out your different ads, what works, how to communicate your USPs, how to kind of incorporate some emotional benefit side of things as well. But I think the biggest aspect of AI from a targeting point of view comes from the social media side of things, so social advertising. I think the biggest thing is actually we've seen now with the campaign type called Advantage Plus, which is kind of similar to Performance Max on Google, but the way the meta has been moving towards is it's not really as clear to be able to segment your campaigns according to these different audience types. Now, before we'd be like, cool, this is our top of funnel audience. These people haven't engaged with us before, don't know about the brand or the products. We want to try target these people because they've shown some interest. And then obviously a separate audience type for or campaign type for people who have engaged with us on social or people who have been to the website, etc. Now what we're seeing is Meta essentially focusing on what is the conversion event, so what's the conversion objective, and from an e-commerce store side of things is that purchase event. So if we are trying to drive purchases, the conversion event is already what categorizes a user. So if I'm more likely to click through to a website but I don't purchase, I fall within like the traffic type targeting. If I'm someone who does make frequent purchases online and through like a meta ad or anything, I can fall within that kind of category of targeting. And Facebook and Meta know that. So you get grouped according to that. So that's the first kind of filtering of how it's going to show an ad to someone. Then when it comes to the more broad targeting like Advantage Plus or just open targeting on Meta, it's actually your creatives that guides where a user is in that funnel. So if I'm someone who's not as aware, I'm going to be served creatives that aren't the bottom of funnel creatives. It's like a good introduction to the brand, shows what products we have, really cool lifestyle side of things, what's the personality of the brand. Middle of funnel, I'm going to get a little bit more product specific, show exactly what we have on offer, show why to buy from us, etc. And then bottom of funnel is going to be those hard sell product listing ads. Get some reviews on there, get some specials, get some I don't want to say specials actually or sales, but like what is the bundle or the really good value ad that's hard to turn away. So the way that we've started structuring those campaigns is we have like one campaign type, but there'll be 5 to 10 different ads, and all of them are categorized according to how we're going to target the funnel. Meta knows based on these user interactions and how they've interacted with firstly how they've interacted with the brand or the product category in general, as well as that conversion event. Meta will then say, cool, this person is showing interest in swimwear all of a sudden. We're going to start introducing them to your brand through these lifestyle ads that you just put in, these brand personality ads that you've just added, and this really good introduction to the brand. Then as they start moving along that funnel and along that conversion journey, that's where you start seeing the other ad types. So I think the funnel side of things and the audience side of things really comes down to your creatives at the end of the day and how well that filters out unwanted audiences and people who aren't ready to convert. The biggest mistake we see is just hard sell ad, hard sell ad, hard sell ad, where it's just the offering straight to the point.
Yeah.
And here's sometimes even just leaving it as the catalog listing and then just advertising
Kind of
that, like
getting that
that doesn't
LinkedIn
add value.
message when you connect with somebody and they try to sell you something, right? Like,
Yeah.
know where the person is. So, I mean, this is all good and well, but something I've learned in life, running a digital agency for 15 years, is that we have people that are creatively minded and people that are data and numbers kind of people. And very, very rarely you have the two, somebody who's both. So who drives this discussion? Like, what are the different parts that are played in now we need to create all these creatives?
Yeah. I think the core focus should come from the paid media person explaining the requirements that's needed, how to categorize these ads according to the different audience types. What are the kind of angles and themes that you want to focus on as well, because that can be like kind of creative buckets or content theme buckets. So that side of things should come from the paid media person. But if you are working with a creative agency on their clients as well, they obviously do the implementation, they add their nice touch to it. They are still going to be required regardless. Even if you have to AI create an ad, it's never going to look as good as someone who can really put a good touch on it. And then I would still say the internal team needs to be giving that feedback as well, because they know the brand better than anyone else. They know the USPs. They know what really drives people and what people are looking for. And then the personality as well of the brand. How do they want to sound? So I think it's very much a collaborative effort between those three parties. Sometimes there's not the creative team, so it's the paid media person working with the internal team. And I think that shows even more need for the paid media person's impact or input, sorry, to the internal team in terms of how should we be going about this creative process. So yeah, it's a collaborative effort.
So, I mean, I think for me, the real thing as well is that, I mean, I've seen a lot of, let's call it, I guess, advertisements online with everybody promising things like, oh, I can list you on ChatGPT overnight. But what I'm hearing is that this is not about shortcuts or hacks. It's about really being able to answer your clients' questions or your prospects' questions. And a lot of times people go, oh, I don't know what content to write. If you talk about your business all the time, you speak about your product and your service all the time, whether it is because you're on a sales call or whether it is at a braai and somebody just asks you a question like, what do? You actually get these questions all the time. And it's just really about taking that knowledge and putting it in a structured format in a way that adds value to the customer at the end of the day. This is not only about the large language model, it's actually about the fact that it still has to add value to the customer, and then have the product offering to back that up as well. So yeah, Dylan, I know you spoke a bit about that. Like it's all good and well, showing up on the likes of Google or a large language model, but like you still got to back it up.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I would see, and I think this was kind of to answer your question of like how quick do you see results? I think it still comes down to these are just additional traffic channels that help drive traffic to your site. From an AI point of view, it could expand to like different types of searches, different contexts of topics as well. But your offer still needs to be the biggest thing that drives the revenue and the sales. So I think at the end of the day, if your offer, and I think this is the biggest thing people need to do is like look at the searches that you essentially rank for from a ad perspective, and look at the people around you, the competitors. How different is your offer to their offer? Because sometimes, like more often than not, you don't even realize how much more expensive your offer might be, how little value you add compared to theirs. So I think if there's a comparison between yours and someone else's, you can drive as much traffic as you want. Someone's going to go for the better offer or the better value that they find. So I think that's probably still going to be the biggest thing to look out for. And I think that's been consistent through all marketing concepts and all marketing channels and things that have always happened. The offer is what's going to drive the result at the end of the day.
Okay, believe it or not, we're actually out of time. So I'm going to quickly go into a couple of the questions that have come our way. Gareth, so the first one I should be able to answer. So can you see what organic traffic comes from AI sources, specifically on J4? Yes, you can. So if you go into your source medium, it actually breaks it up for you. What you can do to make this even better is you can set up a default channel grouping within GA4. We set up ones for our clients. We call it LLM. And then what we do is we put all the different large language models under there. So let's say Perplexity, ChatGPT, Grok, etc. And so then it kind of sort of loops them all together. And then you can always go into that and then see the detailed breakdown. Judy, this is going to definitely be a question for you, Lauren. So Judy from Cafe New says, we have a global brand, and I know ChatGPT shows very much localized results. Do I have to now make a specific website for the US, for example, to show in US results? We currently have a global website only.
Not necessarily. In fact, you wouldn't want to create multiple versions of your website for different geographies, because then you're essentially competing against yourself, right? So you can optimize the entire website based on search intent using keyword research and query research from different geographies. If you wanted to break it up, you could do subdirectories. So, for specific, say you were going to the UK, then it would be / United Kingdom or whatever the case is, or as simple as using a bit of code called hreflang, which also just breaks up your website on the back end of it to understand that these are, I suppose, it's applicable to various locations and various dialects. So, I would stay clear of creating multiple websites. Use subdirectory if you feel like you need to. But again, just take a look at currently where you are and how much you're optimizing your website for terms across different geographies.
Thank you, Lauren. Dylan, this one's for you. This is from, I'm not too sure if it's Simone or Simone. Sorry about that. In terms of search ads, how do we bring in the context that AI needs with the character restrictions, especially in cases where we may be working with more than one language, which has a heavier character count? It's a great question.
Yeah. So I think the context to feed the Google algorithms comes from the websites and the pages. So if you've got your service pages, those really need to be speaking directly to what's on offer, and any other kind of additional context you might want to add. So obviously from a SEO perspective, you're never just trying to rank for one specific keyword and leave it at that. There's qualifiers to those keywords, there's qualifiers to those services, there's additional aspects that you want to include as well. So the context very much comes around from your landing pages, and that's from a lead gen point of view or from an e-commerce point of view. From an e-commerce point of view, it's a lot easier for Google to understand the quality of your page if it is well structured according to the Merchant Center requirements. So every e-commerce site, so Shopify, WooCommerce, Wix, BigCommerce, Magento, all of that, they've got their structured data laid out for you. So you essentially need to fill in your titles, your descriptions, your product types, your image obviously gets added in and then falls within like price, gender, colors, etc., etc. That kind of data is what aids to that additional context. And there's certain elements that have a bigger effect on the Google algorithm than most. And I think it will be your top 5 with your title, your image, your price, your product type, and description also adds that additional context, because you can kind of, I don't want to say keyword stuff because that's the wrong word, but add a little bit more context through those descriptions as well. So it's very much down to your landing page to provide that additional data to Google. Your ads should just be short, punchy offerings. So I like to structure ads sometimes according to my first 4 headlines are going to be very keyword specific. So what is that keyword or that search term or that main offer that I'm trying to sell? So for example, trail running shoes, I'm going to speak for the first 3 to 4 headlines, speak about some variation of trail running shoes. So you want that to be quite unique. And then the next 3 or 4 could be very specific to the tech of it or the features and benefits or why I buy from them. And then you want to add some call to actions in your ads as well. And then you also want to add that brand element as well. So I always recommend adding like one or two at least brand aspect of it. So
Dylan,
Metis.
I'm gonna need to cut you off. I'm afraid I can
Yes.
hear that this is a passionate subject for you.
Yeah.
But it is 11 o'clock, and I know people have other engagements. So just so everybody knows, you will be getting the recording. I've taken a screenshot of the questions that weren't answered, and we'll send you personalized answers to your inbox. And then for anybody that wants to really understand how this can help their business and really make let's have this discussion is more customized to your business or your customers' businesses, more than welcome to give me a shout. I'll send out a mail so you all have my contact details. But we hope you enjoyed the session, and depending on the poll results, we might have another one up our sleeve. Thanks, everybody. Have a great time.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.